So Jordan caught me reading as we're getting ready to start tonight's podcast. Like, what? A binge watcher reads? No, we don't read anything. All we do is watch movies. If it's not in a movie, we can't consume its knowledge. We're visual learners. That's the only way that it works. But, Jordan, you should share your point that you made that what I was reading in the book falls in line with the theme of the movies we've been watching.
Well, why don't you tell them what book you're reading? And
I got to preface the book? Okay, it's an anthropology book, but it talks a lot about pig flesh. And it talks about, or it speculates based on facts, one of the reasons that contemporary religions have problems with consuming pork might be because they misread a 3,000-year-old recipe that just says, cook it correctly or you'll have health problems. You'll get sick, to becoming like unholy or something. And it's always fascinated me. It's by Marvin Harris. It's an anthropology book. But then again, if we bring this stuff up, that would suggest that we're actually intelligent. We don't just sit here and watch movies all day, David.
No, that's all.
Are you drinking out of a Frankenstein cup?
Of course I am.
No. Anyway, I just want to mention Dave's cup because I was teasing him for a second to bring him into the discussion before we get rolling. But he's also drinking out of a little cute Frankenstein Monsters cup.
It's extra cute.
And now I've forgotten about the point of the anthropology book. See how easily things can get off topic. Pig flesh, yeah. Tonight's episode is simply called Pig Flesh. Welcome to Pig Flesh Eaters. It's a new podcast. We're experimenting with the format and tone. No, let's see. Well, I was about to go into tenderizing pork flesh to try to relate it to the Chris Rock Will Smith story about Chris Rock's face getting tenderized by Will Smith, but I can't really. That's a hard joke to sell, so I don't know if I can pull it together. Hold on, let me make sure nobody's here to smack me. No, I'm okay. All right, just checking. All right. So, folks, we were going to tell you this list of like some lawyer. This is really funny too. It's a personal injury lawyer in LA of all places was doing a study and comparing like deaths in the Final Destination horror movies to like the probability of them happening in real life. I'm like, oh, that's a great way. We'll do that. We'll talk about that list. We'll talk about the top 10 at the top of the episode. And then, of course, like, I wasn't even going to watch the Oscars this year. I was like, there's no point. Like, the movies are not that great. Like, it's far too political. It's not even about, like, the context of movie making and celebrating the craft of making movies and during the pandemic and X, Y, and Z. There's too much politics, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, a couple good things happened, and then like one terrible thing happened, and I'm like, oh man, you know what? Like the thing is so captivating, and everybody's talking about it. And Dave was saying, before we started the show, during a text exchange, that like now it's a meme. Yeah, it was like a meme within like probably 10 minutes of it happening. Exactly. But so what happened, folks? I'm sure. I mean, you have to know. At least everybody in the United States probably knows. Our listeners in Germany are like, who cares? Listeners in like London, they might like it because they love tabloids. Other countries, I don't know if they're even going to care. Maybe they have like actual life to live. But
it's Will Smith, so I'm pretty sure they will.
We're all captivated here in the United States. So anyway, Chris Rock is on stage. He tells a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's haircut. Looking like she's going to play G.I. Jane in G.I. Jane Part 2, and Will Smith doesn't like that. I mean, meanwhile, Chris Rock doesn't have the background of like knowing that she has like something called alopecia. Which I guess like thins her hair or whatever, and that's why she has a shaved head. But he doesn't have that background. He's just telling an offhanded joke because there was an awkward moment during the telecast, and he's like trying to keep the broadcast moving. So he just made a joke. It wasn't a great joke, but it also wasn't like an insult. He didn't intend it to hurt anybody's feelings or anything. It was just a comment. And he's a comedian, so whatever. And it's my understanding that the three of them know each other anyway. So that's why this is mind-boggling. Anyway, so then Will Smith gets up, walks across the stage, smacks him in the face, to which Chris Rock is like, I just got the hell smacked out of me by Will Smith. Will Smith goes back to his seat, and then they like start bleeping the broadcast out here. And like, I'm on the East Coast, so like I got all the dirt like right away, and then they started pulling the audio, and then they started cutting video. And so I'm not like sure like what gets to David, like because Dave's on the West Coast, and I'm not sure what he gets to see, but Will Smith was swearing at him. Yeah, so Will Smith is swearing, like dropping F-bombs at him, saying like, keep my wife's name out of your mouth, blah, blah, blah. And
it was very easy to tell what he was mouthing. They did get the camera onto him by that time, but the audio was still cut, and it was very easy to tell what he was saying. And then, of course, the uncensored footage proved it.
Oh, yeah, Australia TV viewers are like leaking that stuff all over Twitter, like, hey, guys, our TV's uncut. You want to see it? Like, it's pretty good. And then I thought, like, wow. And then thinking about Jordan's fascination with reality TV, I was like, we had like a reality TV Oscar moment, and it's Oscar history now. It's like, you think about like historical Oscars for like, oh, it's the first African American winner, or it's the first deaf actor winner. Or it's like, no, this is the first time somebody openly bitch slapped somebody on national televised Oscar broadcast. Historic.
Palmed
Well,
him
what's
in
even
the face.
funnier is then he won. Like, I was laughing. I was like, oh my God.
And
how are
the
you gonna save
tears.
face?
So Will Smith assaults somebody on broadcast television, and then 5 minutes later wins Best Actor of the Year to go on stage and give a speech.
He deserved an Oscar for that speech, because you saw the range of emotions. Like, he was backtrack. I mean,
David, those were what we call in the business. Those are public relations tears. All right.
I'm sorry, tears. Probably.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I just imagine his publicist is like chain smoking, drinking Megalox by the case.
Dude, no, the publicist tied a noose right away. Are you kidding me? Like,
he's the nice guy of the industry, and like, oh boy, did he like his dark side come out?
Well, the news cycle's come full circle. Like the assault, then what the Oscars is going to do about it, to like they're not pressing charges, to like public apology today. Like 24 hours of just like every step of the story. Like, and now the Academy's like, oh yeah, we have to have a session because we have rules. Here's the funny thing about the Academy Awards. Now they have to decide, are they a legitimate institution that has all these standards, or are they completely full of shit? So they have to go into a room and decide, are we going to hold this guy accountable, or are we going to let it go? Because, it's movies.
Which brings us back to... Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, no, all I was going to say is, like, they've been struggling for ratings for years. Like, this brought... Right. I think they said this was, like, the highest in a while. I mean, probably not.
Well, that's right. Some people responded by thinking that it was staged.
I thought that at first until I saw the uncensored footage. And I'm like, no.
You
like,
could not fake
even
that.
if this was put on, he's got too much to lose even by faking it to that degree. There's just no way.
Yeah, just brings me back to like the original point that what you just said, John, is like, here we are. This is a perfect example of it, like not really being about the movies right now. It's this like entire scandal because of what had happened during the award ceremony. But yeah.
Hey, having said that, it made it the best Oscars in a while. Like I literally slept on the last one. So this was like, hey, that was a shot of life, whether you agree with it or not.
But what's the name of the Coda actor? Tori Coster, is that his name?
Tori, he well deserved. That I plug for that, and we're not getting paid. Plug for that movie. That movie's actually pretty great, and that guy deserved his Oscar. Yeah,
so there's an independent. Well, I mean, it seems like an independent movie, but it's backed by Apple. So how independent can you be if you get financing through Apple?
Well, no, they weren't financed through Apple. It was a Sundance pickup, so technically it has its roots in a.
Yeah, but where does the money come from? Doesn't the money come from Apple or from the Sundance project?
No, I mean, it's the way it used to be. Like when movies went to Sundance, they were independently done, and then
his name is Troy Coster.
A studio will buy it, but it's original. I mean, it's like Clerks getting bought by Miramax. Like it was done independently.
You're saying the Apple only comes in on the exchange as a distributor?
Pretty much.
They didn't finance it. Oh, see, I thought big money moved a project and then they made it look like an independent movie, because that happens too.
No, this was a Sundance acquisition.
So the deaf actor's name is Troy Coster. He had one of the best Oscar moments that I think I've ever seen. Like he was talking about how he learned sign language from his dad. Then his dad had an accident, couldn't sign with the family anymore, and what it meant to be a deaf actor on the Academy Awards stage and win an award like that. That's genuine, I mean, that's sincere. That's, to Jordan, to your point, like that's what you want to see during the entire 3 hours is people really caring about what they're doing and why a regular person should even care. Because it's hard to reach the rest of the country when like people are like, am I going to keep the electric bill paid this month? Or like, are we going to have groceries this week? Do I have to get another job? Like, and so why should I care about pouty actors on a 3-hour television show? You know what I mean? Like there's definitely disparity there, but when you see moments like that, like it's like I mean, I have this bittersweet thing with like the industry. Like clearly, I mean, Dave and I went to film school together, and clearly like our roads diverged and we're not where we had intended to be at 19, 20 years old. But when you see a speech like Troy gave, you're like, oh yeah, man, that's what it was about. That was the point. Like, so every once in a while, like if you're defeatist or like you're disheartened about like your own journey, when you see a speech like that, it kind of brings you back to like your core and you go, oh yeah, there's something valuable to it. But then Will Smith goes on stage and smacks a comedian in the face for a joke. So it's like, what are you going to do? I don't know.
Well, there's a few genuine moments overall. I mean, I agree that Troy's is probably the most heartfelt, but I mean, like we've talked, Questlove for that documentary, which is really great, was pretty genuine. Jessica Chastain was pretty, I mean, I'll call it, she's a great actress, so who knows how much of that was genuine and just acting, but I liked hers. Pretty good, despite the incident, it was a decent night for that kind of stuff, but then the slap heard around the world, as they're calling it right now.
All right. We'll take a break, and then we'll be back with the Final Destination story with all the facts and figures, and then some information about other movies that are coming out.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the BInge-Watchers Podcast.
Okay. Welcome back. It was time to blow my nose, think about how cold my office is, and be like, is it worth renting for how cold it is in here? I don't know. It's so cold. It was snowing today, too. It's supposed to be spring. What the hell is going on? Okay, so a personal injury lawyer in Los Angeles examined... Well, I read two different reports. First, I saw like 4,000 deaths of record, and then like another website reported it as like 300,000 deaths. I think it's closer to 4,000. But anyway, he compared them to the Final Destination movies and to see which deaths could actually occur in real life. Now, I didn't ask Jordan beforehand if she's seen any of the Final Destination movies. I'm curious to know, have you seen any of these accidents?
It's been a minute. The tanning bed one is just so memorable to me because I was such a little freak about fake tanning back in the day. So
that's funny because that's
full Jersey Shore. So
that's number 10. So tanning bed burns, as featured in Final Destination 3. The tanning bed set on fire. 1 reported death. So doesn't happen very often. So I guess you're safe. You're safe, Jordan.
Which is still good.
But it has happened, yeah. And I assume these are also only deaths in the United States, probably over like a 10-year period or something. There's probably like a limit to how many facts this guy included. At number 9, barbecue burns. As featured in Final Destination 2, a barbecue exploded. 10 people killed. Barbecue explosions.
It's mind-blowing.
I feel like that'd be higher, but all right.
With all like the turkeys that they put in those oil pots at Thanksgiving and all that. Yeah. At number 8, roller coaster accidents as featured in Final Destination 3 with a roller coaster crash. 14 reports. Now it gets crazy at number 7. Oh, should I stop? Should I give you guys time to comment on each number?
Oh no, that was another one that I remembered, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
So I feel like you've at least seen part 3, which is like one of my favorites, because that has both the roller coaster and the tanning bed.
This is it's like a Star Trek, like every even movie.
Yeah, except after 3, like 4, 5, and 6 are that not have anything to do with the first, have nothing to do with the other ones.
No, actually, well, there's not a 6 yet, but number 5 actually ties into the very first one, which I will not spoil for people who haven't seen it.
At number 7 on the list, shot with a nail gun, also featured on Final Destination 3. Shot by the nail gun, 160 people.
That feels right.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they accidentally shoot themselves on construction sites, but don't die. Like they might hit like a hand or an arm or a foot. Mm-hmm. But except when the noob comes on and kills the foreman with a nail gun 160 times. All right. Be interesting to see if Google's going to censor this list. We'll find out. Okay. That's off topic. I need to stay focused. David, keep me in line. We got a podcast.
Number 5.
There's so many things I want to say.
No, number 6, right?
Number 6, escalator malfunctions from the original. Well, no, this is part 5, the Final Destination, the one Dave was just talking about. If you're caught in the escalator gears, 211 people.
That
Seems
scares
low.
me. That actually
That one is
scares me a
terrifying.
lot. Like, that's more than roller coasters.
Yeah.
I get on escalators more than roller coasters, but ooh.
Yeah.
That was like something parents always would tell their kids to like pay attention while
Stay
they're on
off the escalator.
Get that kid off the escalator.
Yeah. There's Kevin Smith's like second movie. It's his second movie, right?
Yeah.
Mallrats? Yeah, he keeps having the repeated line of like, keep the kid off the escalator. That kid's back on the escalator. And like, of course, there is an accident. So it's pretty good. Number 5, lawnmower accidents, also featured in The Final Destination, which I think is the 5th movie. A rock shot through an eye socket by a lawnmower. That's what happens in the movie, huh? Dang. 229 deaths. Also significant. You could be doing that part-time gig where you're mowing Mr. Jeffrey's lawn on Saturday, David, and then rock to the eye, lawnmower death.
Now, are these deaths like full-on deaths or just injuries?
No, these are deaths.
Yeah, like
This is-
actually dying from that.
These are dying from these accidents, David. These are,
They don't come back.
Okay.
yeah. Little Jimmy had a paper route. Apparently not, because he got killed at the lawnmower job. All right. At number 4, this is unbelievable to me. Like, scalded with oil, as featured in Final Destination 5, when an oil truck spills. I don't know how an oil truck can spill. And maybe it lights on fire. I don't know. I would think about like boiling oil. 335 people. That's significant.
Okay, I feel like I have to watch that one now. I want to see how the whole oil thing.
How the oil thing
If
plays out.
if I remember right,
hot.
I think that was, if I remember right, that was one where like a tanker spilled or like got opened up. I think that was a fantasy sequence, not an actual. That's what happened. But
Yeah, but apparently 335 people have died that way in real life. Not good.
Being scalded by oil. That'd be, not fun.
This one is hilarious to me. It also happens in... So at number 3, lifting weights, which is also featured in Final Destination 3, crushed by the weights, 930 people. An unbelievable number. Almost 1,000 people crushed while at the gym.
actually, I buy this. If you go on YouTube and just search like weightlifting fails, you'll see a million where it's like, I'm amazed more don't die from this. Like, how many people get these huge weights and don't have a spotter? Like, I'm not a weightlifter, but I know you gotta have a damn spotter.
I gotta watch out for number. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Or I was just gonna say it's like so much weight that they're like just hemorrhaging from their head and other areas. Yeah, it's nasty.
Like they pop a vein, they bleed out.
Like pretty much just it's not good.
See,
so I cook people pass out immediately.
Like, see, I thought number 4 referred to cooking oil, so I was like, I'm afraid of that. 300 people died with cooking oil, so I was fearful of that. But Jordan spends time in the gym. She's got to watch out for this number 3, lifting weights. 900 of her friends are dead. Okay. Are there disclaimers posted in the gym? Probably, right? There's probably like things over like, hey, take your own life and your risk or whatever.
Probably. I would hope so. Yeah. I mean, you sign waivers.
How many pages?
Probably
then you know it's serious.
Yeah.
You got like 6 pages. Like this gym is hardcore. How many pages of waivers do they have? Number 2. Scaling or moving fences, as featured in Final Destination 5. Cut in half by a metal fence is what's featured in the movie. Dave, you want to guess how high this number is?
Well, because I don't have to guess. I can see it in front of me.
Oh, son of a bitch. He's cheating. He's looking at the notes.
21.
Yeah, 2,121 people, folks, have tried to scale a fence and got caught. Bummer. I feel like probably happens a lot when they're running from the police. Trip over a fence.
Or a dog.
Or your friends are trying to... Do you guys remember climbing fences? Like as teenagers where your friends are like, let's just go this way.
Oh,
let's not walk half a mile. Let's go right over this fence.
Yeah, unfortunately. Climbed a lot of fences in my day.
Yeah. There's a sensitive area, folks, where you don't want to be popped like a balloon. And when you think of dangerous fences, you think of getting popped like a balloon.
That was
especially
graphic.
if they have like a wire top.
That was graphic. That was
like, God dang.
playing on the imagination. That's what a young boy fears. Am I going to get stuck on this fence? This is going to be horrible. Imagine having to call your parents like, hey, I got caught on this fence. I'm stuck here.
I've done that
Come get
before, but the pants just ripped. So.
Yeah, you're lucky. You got those thick jeans. All right. At number 1, this is stupid, but 4,162 deaths, and as featured in Final Destination 2, when an eye was gouged out by the falling fire escape ladder. Ladder-related injuries are the top most realistic death to be featured in the Final Destination movie. 4,162 people killed by a ladder.
That makes total sense, though. I mean, if you think about how, I mean, I've known people who've fallen off the roof or because of the ladder or whatever, so it's not that inconceivable. I mean, maybe not in the way in the movie, but like you know, Christmas light season or cleaning gutter season. I'm sure that's when it happens the most.
I thought that death happened in the first movie. Like this guy's in his apartment and like he starts a fire cooking noodles, right? Heating up Chinese food, and then he tries to get out through the fire escape. You're like, oh, he escaped.
So he gets scolded by the oil and then falls off the ladder. Just kidding.
That's actually a great scene. Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of fake outs where you think he's going to die this way and then
Psych.
Different way. Yeah. Psych. Yeah.
Probably being the show's biggest anime nerd, I don't think that Dave and Jordan have probably seen too much Voltron, but there's an 80s cartoon Voltron, which later got remade by Netflix, whatever. Basically, there's 5 alien robots that defend the galaxy from the evil King Zarkon, and they're going to make a live-action Voltron. So if they make that movie, it'll be a little bit Power Rangey, probably. I mean, you got robots that turn from animals into a giant robot, swings a sword around, fights giant monsters.
Do we know if it's a Netflix production or who's doing it?
It's being shopped around. So whoever owns Voltron right now is seeking a studio. It's very early stages from what I was reading. But Rick and Morty made a parody of it, but they were like, what, ferrets or something? What were they?
I forget.
Do you remember?
Voltron is one of those shows that I haven't watched, but I know enough.
No, Voltron is lions, but the Rick and Morty version was like ferrets, right?
I don't remember that one.
I don't remember ferrets.
You don't remember the episode where he wanted to collect them from all the galaxies to build an even bigger robot?
I remember the episode.
It's a straight parody of Voltron, and then it turns into like a heist movie like Ocean's 11 or something.
You son of a bitch.
There's this really creepy, well, it looks creepy. The trailer looks creepy. A24 has a movie coming out called Men, and they've been crushing it with like horror movie and creepy dramas. Like, so they're kicking out this couple studios I like, Neon Rated and A24, because they're making really weird stuff. So they made Lamb, they made The Green Knight, Saint Maud, Minari last year, Midsummer, The Lighthouse. It goes on and on. Like if you go to their website, it's like the most creative movies in like the last couple of years have come from them. But they're making this movie called Men, and it looks like a woman's like trapped, like somehow trapped in like a time loop or like purgatory or something, because she goes to like some cottage in the countryside. It looks like the English countryside. She keeps it. There's like a caretaker there, and then every other man that she encounters is like another version of the same guy, same face, and then like some distortions on the way he looks, and they're like ridiculing her, stalking her, and then like saying weird shit through the whole trailer. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be right up there.
Looks absolutely terrifying. So
yeah, it looks horrifying. It's scary.
I'm like, hell no, but I'm gonna watch it.
I cannot actually comment on the trailer because I purposely did not watch it because it's Alex Garland. Well, no, this is one of those things where if I know I'm going to see it, I'm not going to bother watching the trailer because I always hate stuff being given away. But it's Alex Garland. I've already liked his 2 other movies, Ex Machina and Annihilation. So I'm already sold before I even see anything. So now just hearing you guys excited for it makes me more excited. So,
and keeping with the creepy vibe, there's a creepy poem from like the 1800s. I think it's called The Yellow King. And part of that poem inspired the first season of True Detective. Like they use it as reference material, and like the serial killer in that show kind of resembles the description of the guy in the psychedelic trippy poem that's kind of creepy. And so somebody else is like making a yellow wallpaper movie. So imagine it's probably going to be in the same vein of like a horror movie. Again, early stages. Just thought it was cool to bring up because of the Yellow King connection to True Detective. So, and tonight's movie, we're doing a retrospective Usually at this time of the year, we're doing anime movies, which I almost like. So in watching this movie and the movie we're going to review for a fan, because we had a fan do a fan submit for a fan pick, and we're like, okay, we'll go watch this movie. And like, I wasn't really happy with either movie this week, spoiler alert, or review alert. So I was like, damn it, like what a rough start. So I almost was like, in the middle of the night, just said like, hey guys, here's a link to an alternative movie. Watch it if you got time. We'll reset the entire episode. But we're not. We're going to do Tony Scott movies. And the first one is actually his first film, which I didn't even know this till we were putting the research together. Anyway, tonight's movie is The Hunger. John Baylock, played by David Bowie. He's a lover of a vampire named Miriam. Miriam Baylock. They share the name. I guess they're married, whatever. He was led to believe that he's going to live forever, but at the beginning of the movie, it looks like he's rapidly deteriorating and losing his youth at a scary rate. And then she's like, oh, I got to replace this dude. And so she's checking out Susan Sarandon, who plays like some kind of researcher studying aging in chimpanzees or something, and how to, I don't know if they're going to end up making like a health and beauty product. I mean, who would pay for this kind of research? It would be like a pharmaceutical company or like some kind of cosmetics company would pay for this kind of research. Like, oh, we got the new anti-aging cream because we killed like 10 chimps. Rush that to market. Approved for humans. Anyway, so she's trying to seduce now Susan Sarandon because she's lonely. I guess it sucks to be alive for 1,000 years or whatever, and so you got to keep replacing your partners. Anyway, that's the movie. Yeah,
You've said it. That's the movie.
That's the movie, guys. Spoiler alert: David Bowie dies, but you kind of like know that from like the beginning because he's rapidly aging. So whatever. You know what, in my memory, though, can I share this with you guys? For some reason, in my memory, I thought he melted in the chair in the waiting room. I have a clear memory of some dude waiting to see somebody in a waiting room and melting. And I thought it was in this movie, and I thought that's why it was going to be worth watching with you guys. But he ages a little bit, and then his dusty corpse gets sticked in a pine box with the rest of the dusty corpses. And that's it.
To join the rest of her lovers.
Yeah, so they can play Uno together or something like that. They just wait out eternity in her closet.
All right, I guess I got some facts.
That's what I was about to ask.
You guys can't see this unless you see this as a video, maybe, if this gets stuck on our YouTube channel. But Dave was just literally waiting for his turn to talk. And a good way to segue into David. And I was waiting for David to just take the reins. Well, just start talking.
Well, I did, because we had a little lull there. All right, well, you've already mentioned this, but I'll expand on it. Yes, this is the directorial debut for Tony Scott, and this is what's called the closest in style to his brother Ridley. He actually did go on to mold kind of what we think of as modern action movies, with movies like Top Gun and Last Boy Scout. Tony Scott actually discovered the band Bauhaus in a London nightclub and decided to put them in the film. They're the band at the very beginning of the movie that's singing their song "Bela Lugosi is Dead." And actually, they were in a big song of theirs took part in another movie we reviewed, Night of the Demons, when Angela in that movie like does her crazy dance and gets possessed. There's a song called "Stigmata Martyr" by them. So this actually had a couple of hookups on this movie. In 2014, Susan Sarandon revealed that she and David Bowie had an affair while filming this, and Catherine Deneuve and a cameraman named Hugh Johnson also had a 2-year relationship that started with this movie. So regardless of what you think, it had some relationships built off of it.
Well, it's a steamy movie, David. Somebody's sleeping with somebody.
It is. It's very steamy.
But they wouldn't sign the reality TV contracts. That's fact number 2. Jordan, they were offered a reality show and they said no.
Not too bad. Tony Scott's brother Ridley was actually supposed to direct this, but when he saw David Bowie was involved, he cut out, basically. And this movie was a modest success, I think, when it came out, but it's actually gone on to become a big cult favorite, particularly among goth people. Well,
Tony's a little brother, right?
I do believe, yes.
So he's probably like, come on, I want to make a movie. I want to direct a movie. Come on. Fine. Oh my gosh, got the script. Don't like it. Here, do it.
Well, they both basically did the same thing. They worked in commercials for years and became directors off of that. But yeah, I don't know. Jordan, favorite bits?
Yeah, definitely. When Susan was cleaning off her white T-shirt, I was like, okay, I think I can get into this movie. It
It
was
was the
just
Screwmax moment.
the nice, saucy scene
Mhm.
between Catherine and Sarah, or Miriam and Sarah. So I'm getting all the names mixed up, but yeah, no, I was into this movie for sure. I could see why it's a cult favorite with the goths, but.
You know what's funny? That sequence happened very quickly. It's like a little bit of piano playing, one glass of sherry, cut to a wet T-shirt, and now it's a
kidding
Cinemax
me?
special. It happened very quickly.
Yeah, not too much of a build up there, but
No.
favorite bit right there.
I've got a few. I mean, the very beginning, I kind of mentioned that band is playing. It just feels very 1980s MTV. I mean, yeah, I mean, that was the era, so that kind of was pretty fun. Also because I like that band before I'd seen this movie, and the very end, we kind of talked about it. All of her lovers, like, basically can catch her, and then everybody turns to dust, essentially. But that I didn't see that exactly coming. So that. I really like that because, unfortunately, John Con, I think we'll see where our ratings are, but this movie was kind of a letdown. So this was kind of hard.
Mhm.
Like, what did I like about this movie? There's a lot of things too. Like, I think the cinematography, the editing, this movie is a great showcase in how well Tony Scott can make a movie look. But
I like
it
the
didn't really.
music too.
Did you
Yeah.
mention it was a book?
I did not. Yeah, this was a book. There's
Was
a
a book.
trilogy.
And then before Tony Scott died, he was trying to develop a TV show.
There was actually. I didn't put it in the facts because I didn't think it was.
But here's what I don't know. I don't know how closely the mythology follows the book, because they did a couple things differently in this movie that didn't really pan out for them. It's also very confusing. Like, this movie needs would need a little, some kind of guide to understand the rules of the vampires.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
not clear.
That was the problem I had with the movie. Is it was, I won't go as far as saying it was hard to follow, but it didn't seem to have a very good logic, or
Yeah, it's called inside baseball. Like, if you hear two people talking about baseball at a bar, but you don't know anything about baseball, you're like, what the hell are they talking
Right.
about?
I mean, and
Same with this movie. If you don't know the source material, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, which is disappointing because it was like I was hooked from the beginning. It's a beautiful movie, like it's well made, and like this is clearly his calling card to things like Top Gun, whether you like that or not. But like the movie itself is just very. I didn't have it, other than its visual style, didn't have a lot to hang on, unfortunately.
Well, and Miriam is supposed to be like thousands years old. Like, she's supposed to be, if you remember, there's like this flashback of her being the Egyptian and killing. Like, she talks about it in the piano song about the story of this Egyptian who ends up like falling in love with her slave, and you find out that there's like this little flashback, right? And she's actually like eating, her friend. And so she's like supposed to be like 5,000 years old. And there's things that didn't connect. And the story didn't really go as planned. But yeah. It was.
What about you, John? Did you have a favorite bit?
Again, I'm attached to like a memory of the waiting room, but it played out much differently. So my new favorite bit is actually when he's too old to eat the breakdancer in the underground tunnel. Like, he's like, this is when he's trying to get back to the mansion after he doesn't have any progress with the doctor about the de-aging. And then he's trying to take a victim because he wants to now eat, because he thinks if he gets the blood, he'll get younger again. And then he's too weak to kill the guy. And the dude's like, what the hell, man? He just ruined my breakdancing. Like, what's up? You cut me, brother, or whatever. So yeah, I mean, that's a goofy favorite bit, but again, like, it's weird. You see a movie and then your mind makes a whole movie of itself years later.
Yeah.
Unless there's a movie out there where a guy melts in a chair waiting for somebody, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. Melting chair guy.
The only thing I don't know about in a chair. The only other movie I can think of with somebody melting is called Street Trash, but I don't think that's this movie.
It's very different.
Who framed Roger Rabbit? Doesn't he melt?
Oh yeah, they dip him in like vats of goo. Yeah, but he's not waiting for somebody.
It was the dip. The dip.
The dip. Yeah. Where are we? Let's see.
Ratings.
Oh yeah, ratings. Jordan.
It's a little hard to tell. Binge later. I definitely will recommend it to my mom. I think she'll enjoy it, but I think just the story not matching up was a little hard to get over for sure. Dave.
Yeah, I'm also gonna say binge later. There was enough in it that I could say, hey, if you want to see something really beautiful and that's all you want, sure.
Susan Sarandon. Just be honest.
Well, I mean, yes, Susan Sarandon, of course, but I mean, just the cinematography was beautiful too. And honestly, the other thing that really disappointed me was I went in for a David Bowie movie, and I guess technically he was there, but he was gone way too fast. I don't care. Like once he was had the makeup on, I'm like, oh, is he gonna become David Bowie again?
Right. The attractive version of him was pretty short.
Yeah. A for effort. I mean, but
his character also pulls a boner move, and he kills the teenage girl that they're giving piano lessons to because he's jealous, thinking that that's their replacement, which is really unfortunate. Because like, I was really terrified for that girl, the teenager who plays the violin with them or whatever, has the music lessons. Yeah. I was like, she's sitting there, and I'm like, dude, you don't even realize you're completely clueless that you're getting music lessons from vampires. And then I thought, like, wow, so vampires have to make money. Like the economy's that bad? They have to pay for this giant luxury apartment or something. You know what I mean? Like they didn't invest in anything over like 500 years, or as Jordan said, like 5,000 years. They don't have like Egyptian gold somewhere. Like, bummer.
Yeah, and even if they started with like a buck savings account in the 1920s, I mean, you think.
Well, they do go out every night, so I guess they're like night clubbers. You know, they spend all their money. They got that lifestyle to keep up with, to contend with, right? So that sucked. I didn't want that character to die, but it happened. It's a binge later, and it would be a binge never, except vampires are my favorite monster, so I'll watch pretty much almost every vampire movie around, like including like Andy Warhol's buddy made a Dracula movie, which is basically porn, but it's still technically a Dracula movie.
I know nobody's gonna watch this on
Captain
video.
Kronos, Vampire Killer, which is about a guy that's like a English cavalry who specializes in killing vampires. I don't know. And then like that movie's unique because he gets rapidly aged. Like he's like a soldier in his 30s, and then he ages to like 75. He's like, I still gotta kill the vampires. I'm old. Captain Kronos, yeah. So if you're like trying to just watch all the vampire movies you could possibly see, like eventually you get to this one, you know, like, oh, the vampire movie with Susan Sarandon. Okay, yeah, gotta watch The Hunger.
I'd suggest Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter before this, though.
Wow. Jordan, do you have a favorite vampire movie?
Not what I'm willing to admit while on this podcast. Yeah, you guys would be ashamed.
I think I could take a wild guess, but I won't say it on air.
Yeah, Dave, have my back.
All right, we'll go to fan service. A young fan named Kareem asked us, shout out to you, Kareem, if you're listening or watching. You asked us to take a look at an early entry in, I don't know how familiar he is with, what's his name?
James Spader.
James Spader, yeah. Who the only thing I've seen him in recently was the one season of The Office that he's in, season 8 of The Office, where he plays the boss.
He's been on a TV show for like close to 10 years.
Yeah, he's also doing like a espionage crime show or something.
So that's basically where he's been for the last decade.
So this is like, while he's doing 80s teen bopper movies, he's also in a serial killer movie called Jack's Back. I don't think I knew about this movie. Again, like, my movie fantasies are not lining up with the actual movies because I thought that he was the killer. Like, I thought there was a James Spader movie where he was a killer, kind of like Dead Ringers, where there's two twins. Are they both evil? Is one of them evil? Like Jeremy Irons, you know, like, so I assumed the whole time that like one of the twins was evil, right? And it's, I mean, he plays two different characters, so if you want to see his early range, I guess, take a look at the movie. But to be honest with you, Kareem, if you hadn't asked me to watch it, and then if I had stumbled upon this on my own, it's like, there used to be these things called video stores. You'd walk in, you get two movies. You happen to see out of the corner of your eye another movie on the shelf. It's got James Spader. It's about a serial killer. It references Jack the Ripper. You're like, oh, there's the third movie. I'll go ahead and get it. And then you just watch it and go, ah, shit.
Yeah. I thought, when you'd suggested this, I thought I had seen it, and turns out I haven't. But I was aware of this movie, and yeah, it's not bad, but it's not anything I'd certainly watch again.
Well,
I was
that's
really
the thing. There's a little bit of expectation, right?
yeah.
Because it's floating out there. We'll get to this eventually. There's a serial killer movie out there with James Spader. It's like a modern day Jack the Ripper. This might be cool. We'll put it on the list one day. Fan asked us to bump it up. We bumped it up. We watch it. There's some disappointment, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean and you know what else disappointed me when I looked up the director? It was from the guy the very next year he did Roadhouse. Like he made such a I'm sorry again, not trying to insult anybody's taste here,
Wow.
but this is a very boring movie to go from this to Roadhouse.
So this goes from Jack's Back to Roadhouse, right? Which
Yeah.
I wouldn't give him Roadhouse based on his work in Jack's Back. I wouldn't give him Roadhouse. Just like Tony Scott gets Top Gun after The Hunger.
But at least that makes sense because
Valid
he
point.
made a visually good movie. As long as you can bring visuals to something, you got something. This didn't even have that.
There was some funny scenes where I'm just like, I don't know. I just thought like force was excessive. I don't know. Some things that just were...
like poorly acted scenes or just like
yeah. Like her being thrown and like he like pushes her, but she just like gets casted aside like a little rag doll. Just like little stuff like that was adding up for me. But
I mean, I want to be clear. I don't think this is by any means a bad movie, but it's a very mediocre movie. And kind of I went in with a bit of high expectations because I was like, okay, James Spader, serial killer movie.
But here's the positive. If you're a James Spader fan and you want to see early James Spader stuff and you want to see stuff that's outside of like a teen comedy or a teen drama, you got a Jack the Ripper serial killer slasher movie. The slashing is a little toned down. So that's one of the only drawbacks. But again, you want to watch a James Spader early entry where he plays two very different characters, or Robert, or is his name Robert Picardo? There's a Star Trek actor in here who plays a psychiatrist who's actually, and again, I'm trying to find the positives, but I'm bothered by his character who uses hypnosis as an actual medical science, you know. And the cops are like, we believe everything you're saying, doctor. Let's go get this guy based on a hypno session.
everything's based off of visions that like he's seeing about his brother.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Could have said anything like, oh yeah, it's my friend Steve who owes me $100. I saw it in a dream that he killed everyone. Go pick up Steve right now and get my $100 back. Could have said anything, and they're like, hook, line, and sinker. We believe you. You know. Anyway. It has a good background. I mean, like, it's interesting that there's like a community, like the victims are being pulled out of patients to attend like a community clinic. That's a good setting, right? Like the other brother, the more innocent brother, the other character he's playing, spoiler alert, the brother who dies first that James Spader is playing seems like a nice character from like ER, you know? Could have been in the ER cast, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I mean, that's it. I mean, how much more can we say for
not much
for Jack's Back?
Hey, but you know what? Having said that, I mean, don't anybody else wants to suggest a movie, we'll check it out. But this,
oh yeah, keep them coming. This is a really good way to do fan service. You guys want us to review a movie, we will. Unfortunately, it seems like the last few that we've gotten have been stinkers, but we'll.
But you're gonna get an honest answer at least. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I hope they're coming to the show to get an answer like that because there's no holding back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know,
if
it's
I
not
really
like,
like it, I'll sing its praises. But
yeah, it's not like Dave was paid to say that Jack's Back is an Oscar winner, right, Dave? No one greased the palm on this one, huh?
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, guys, I still want to like maybe not watch Tony Scott movies. Because it's like a wild time, and I want to have fun, and I don't know if I want to watch all his old movies or not. I mean, what do you guys?
But if I remember the list from here on out, isn't it more of like the funner ones?
Well, the next one is supposed to be the NASCAR movie Days of Thunder, which is like the first time that, you know, that they let filmmakers go into their world or whatever. It's the Tom Cruise, you know, racing movie, which is one of his better movies. But I'm kind of like Tom Cruised out, so it's hard to go back and watch a Tom Cruise movie. Much debating. I also want to find out this vampire movie that Jordan won't reveal on the air.
I will speak about one that is my favorite, though, that we have talked about on the show. I love The Lost Boys. You know, that's the t-shirt
nice.
I bought from the merch channel. One of my favorites for sure.
You also rewatched Let the Right One In, right? Did you watch
and that one was really good. Yeah, I did like that one. I liked the Swedish, it's what was it, a Swedish movie or something? I like that version better than the
American
weird
one?
thing
The
was
remake?
is that they were all only like a couple years apart too. The remakes were only like 2 years apart from each other. It just wasn't a long time, but
Yeah. Although, I mean, well, we already reviewed it on the show. Like, I agree with you. I would prefer the Swedish version, but that American remake is actually, for American remakes, it's actually pretty solid.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But watch the original first.
So come back. I'm conflicted, folks. Come back and we'll be talking about Tony Scott movies, or we'll leave it at the hunger and move on to something else. I don't know. I got to talk to my team here and like figure out where we want to go. There's an opportunity here, or not. I mean, maybe I should stick to the list, right, Dave? What happens if we go off the list? Terrible things?
I mean, we can also look at the other. Tony Scott makes some really good movies and some really ballsy movies. So I don't know. Maybe
you know what? Maybe I should stick to my guns because I do want to see what Jordan thinks of Domino.
That's the one I was actually looking forward to because that's one I have not seen. I remember the trailers when it came out. I never got to it.
And that's the crescendo. That's the finale. So that'll be like the third movie. We're only doing 3. We're going to do 4. I got something. We're going to do a watch party this month, and it's going to be. I made this little mini review the other day. We're going to watch that movie, but I won't tell. I'll tell that later. Anyway, all right, folks. I figured it out. You got to listen to me like lose my shit and then figure something out on the show. Great. Jordan, are you proud of me? No F-bombs. Only 3 S-words.
So proud.
All right. I'm going to drink another Mountain Dew. I'll reward myself.
That sounds refreshing.
This one is good. This is the watermelon one. Major melon.
I only F with Baja Blast, so...
Which you'd only get at Taco Bell, so you have to go to Taco Bell.
I've seen cans.
Oh, wait. Well, that was like... You're right. Last year for like 2 months, they did stick the cans on the shelf. You're right.
Yes. Yep.
That is technically true. The best one, nobody can get because there's just there's no nationalism anymore, Dave. There's no like Americana, like we love America anymore. It's called Liberty Brew. Did you know this one?
No.
50 flavors in one Mountain Dew, brah. Liberty Brew.
You are the Mountain Dew connoisseur of the group. I didn't realize the
It's
world
poured
of Mountain Dew
into this can.
It.
Yeah, it had a blue can.
I don't do soda, but man, there was this thing once called Pepsi Summer Mix, and it was like the best shit I've ever had in my entire life. I drink like 8 cans a day of that brown soda, and it was, I don't know, I want it back. Bring back Pepsi Summer Mix.
If we're talking Pepsi Clear, like Back to the Future 2.
Oh, Crystal Pepsi?
Crystal Pepsi.
Oh, no, that's Pepsi Free in Back to the Future. That's right.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because that was a big joke. He asked the guy, the soda jerk in the 50s, like, "Oh, I want a Pepsi Free." He's like, "Well, if you want a Pepsi, you got to pay for it."
Oh, okay. Not yet. It says, "Do you want to end your broadcast?" No, because that was just going to hang.
That wasn't the way to go.
That wasn't the way to go. Somebody has to say something, and then we can leave. That was not good.
Something.
Literally
Pepsi
something.
Summer Mix.
So I'm gonna pressure Jordan to tell us this movie that she won't reveal, and then I'll never tell you guys because it'll be pinky swear. Can't tell you. We'll get cursed if I reveal it. But I'm curious. My curiosities.
I was a teenage girl once. FYI. Twilight baby. I'll still watch it and cry at the TV.
Wait, is that the reveal? Are you saying it now?
I just said it.
Oh, so Jordan was just worried because how much shit that we've talked about.
All of the shame.
The Twilight shame. Oh man!
But at least you were the audience for that when they came out. It was not. I did watch the first one because when something's that big in pop culture, I'm like, all right, I'll try it at least once. And all I'll say is it wasn't for me.
Dude, I named